I've been scrolling and I found a really interesting clip that I just wanted to share with you guys because it has garnered a lot of attention, a lot of controversy.
Yep.
And it deals in the dating realm of relationships of, what women would deem as a high value man or a man that's worthy of, being partnered with for long term. But it was a clip with Eboni K. Williams on the Ayana show. Forgive me if I'm butchering her name, but this is a clip that I want to play, and I want us to all get our thoughts on this because I know we've been, pre-gaming, talking it up in the chat. So let's roll that clip, Arthur.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date
if
a bus
he owns
driver?
the bus? If he owns
No.
it. If he owns the bus,
See, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem.
Okay.
Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that. But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well, I would date a bus.
So, what are your thoughts on this? Because I feel like I'm on the fence with it. I can understand. Oh yeah, and just for all intent purposes, this video I felt like, and what I've learned from Wise Guy is you should do your due diligence to look a little bit more deeper, right? A lot of people were giving her backlash. They were, then she had a follow-up interview on The Breakfast Club. And people were just taking it out of context. I feel like I took the time myself to actually watch the full interview.
Me too.
And it was actually very insightful.
It's a good interview.
I don't feel like she was being disrespectful or anything like that. I know what she stands by, and she wants black men to be their best. But there's other sides to it. There's nuances. So I just want to hear what you guys think about it.
I would just say this. We have to be mindful and careful how we say our words.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing wrong with wanting what you want.
That's true.
Right? And I know she said it, that she's dated all across the spectrum. Right? Cool. You want this specific type of guy? Cool. But it sounded like.
It did. You're right.
Right?
Because even...
Talk
sorry,
to me.
I didn't mean to...
No. Continue.
I have one quick question.
Before, go ahead.
How do you feel when she, used the term mediocre? Do you? Because I heard her give her explanation.
On
her
the
backing
Breakfast
on the
Club.
Breakfast Club. Do you think that's a legitimate statement? Like, it is what it is, or do you take it as like, all right, maybe you low key dissing somebody?
Hold that thought for later. Cool. Because we're going to bring it up.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
actually have some statistics for you guys to look at.
Yes.
We're going to exactly break down what it means to be mediocre. So I will openly admit that when I first saw the clip, of course I got upset, because I'm like, you can't just look down on somebody strictly because of their profession, especially because in this generation more than ever, in the realm of dating, at least in the black community, let's just don't keep it in the black community. It's going to be a heavily black focused show, just so you know. There's a lot of judgment on a man's worth, especially strictly based off of the type of job that he does. There's a lot of looking down on jobs such as, what do you call the people that pick up trash?
Sanitation workers.
Sanitation workers.
But they make good bread too. Yes, I do.
Blue collar jobs. Anything that takes heavy labor, anything that is an undesirable job.
Right.
There's a lot of looking down on that, But when I talked to my mom, I was asking her, like, when did it become corny to have a job, to have a pension, to have any sort of benefits that will aid you and your children in life? When did it become okay to be dating a drug dealer that's all about running the block and that has no financial plan? Why? Because he doesn't have $50 million? So there is a lot of judgment on a guy's occupation.
Of course.
So I did jump to a conclusion. But when the Breakfast Club interview came out, because full disclosure, I actually like Eboni K. Williams. She has a lot of points to prove.
Yeah.
When I watched it and I heard the full context, I was like, okay, I get everything what you're saying. We can still circle back to how it makes people feel, and you have to be careful about the things that you say. But did she say anything wrong, is my question.
No.
I don't think she said anything wrong.
But what I would say, no, continue. Sorry, you were saying something, bro.
I would say she didn't say anything wrong in particular, but at the same time, she is entitled to want what she wants. But at the same time, you kind of have to be realistic too, because most women who do work up the ladder, they get up there. Like most of the times, their success rate in relationships are not that good because their standard is it's a little too high. And that's why I can see from Ayana's point is that, yeah, the occupation is important. Those things are important. I even spoke with the girl about this on social media, and I was like, those things are important, yes. No one's doubting that. No one's disregarding that. But at the same time, what about his worth internally as well?
Character.
Those things that can be bought. He could make well over $500K a year, and he could beat on you. He could do all kinds of emotionally abusive things, verbally abuse you. He could be running amok in the streets, doing whatever the case it might be, putting you at risk. So it doesn't necessarily equate that he's making this much that he's going to be necessarily a good man for you. What if he's not a teacher to your children? Is he treating you well? Is he respecting you? All these are the different things. I feel like it's a lot more complex than just like, all right, well, I'm just gonna dish out some shellings for you.
Can I just piggyback? Oh, you want to say something, bro?
No, I think also was what they also in that interview I picked up was, that women in that femininity need to not create with the next children, the next set, they need to create better. They need to do better, change it. They need to nurture more. They need to go to nature and nurture more. That's all I was saying. As the next generation, nurture more.
So one thing I would add to what you were saying, that when we look at the dilemma that plagues the black community, guys, it's hard when you have women in high positions. Like the more you get educated, and if you're trying to find somebody on that level, there's a sense of competition between, and that's a masculine thing. So it's hard for men to want to look and try to say, oh, why am I not attracting this person, right? And she was asking in that 23-minute clip.
The Ion Love
right?
video. Yep.
Why, what can we do as women? And sometimes we have to learn to separate the workforce from the household.
Yes.
You
I
can't be competing outside and competing inside.
A different role. It's a different role.
But that's just a side gesture. I just wanted to talk about that, just a mere fact. We should. Because it was mentioned in the video.
And definitely support your partner in their roles while they're working outside. Definitely support them however you can.
I know you wanted to take over so bad.
Not necessarily take over. So my question to you guys is, do you think that she actually had a point in what she was saying during the Breakfast Club interview, during this video? Do you think that she actually, do you think her point is valid when she's in here talking about black excellence, black success, and wanting to be better in our community?
In the Breakfast Club?
Yes.
Not in the initial video?
Not in the initial.
No.
I would say I kind of agree with you guys, only because without context in that clip, it seems very degrading. But I understand that she was conflating that job with an economic status in American society. And by definition, conflating means mixing two ideas to mean the same thing, sort of. I actually looked it up, what does conflate mean? Merging two ideas.
Yeah.
So the reality is that being a bus driver equates to this economic standing. And we know that this economic standing does not suffice for us as a black community. That's just a reality. Right. I did some research before we bring up the chart. I'm gonna mention this to you guys. So I looked up the actual salary of a bus driver. Here's it. So the average bus driver salary in New York City, according to Indeed.com, is $24.28 per hour, which is 24% above the national average. That's in New York City just alone, right? And so if we subtract the 24% from that, that leaves us making.
Is this overall in general? Because there's different kinds. You got MTA, you got school bus.
This is Indeed.com. Their research a bus driver. This is in New York City. just New York City. So we know that you get more in New York City, but the cost of living is higher. So if you subtract the 24% from that, that means that on average around the United States, bus drivers make $19.58, which equates to $40,000 and $40,700 a year. Salary. Nobody's talking about taxes. Nobody's talking about rent. $40,700 a year. And can we all agree that money is political power, money is economic power?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
If you're making over, let's just put, are you able to bring up the chart graph right now? I'm gonna bring this up for you guys. We're gonna have a little discussion about it. We're gonna get in depth. We're gonna talk about some economic power.
Go ahead.
So, I got this chart from BlackDemographics.com, which grabs their data from the United States Census Bureau. So, if we look all the way to the right, in 2018, just focusing on 2018, according to them, making $15,000 to $25,000 a year is considered working class and working poor. If we go underneath that, if you make under $15,000, you're considered in poverty and working poor. If we combine that 13% and that 19%, that equals 1/3 out of 100. By the United States Census Bureau standard, that means that 1 in every 3 black people in America is considered poor. 1 in 3 black people is considered poor by the United States Census Bureau as of 2018.
You mean mediocre?
No, we haven't even touched mediocre.
we didn't
Oh, you
get
want to go to
mediocre
mediocre?
yet.
Let's go
We
to
didn't get to
mediocre.
mediocre yet.
Let's go to mediocre. Let's go. Let's talk about
That's
mediocre.
poor.
Let's go to
Sorry.
mediocre. So we got 25,000 to 50,000, which is considered working class, right?
Yeah.
25 to 50,000. That sound good. We all live in New York City. Is 50,000 going to do much for you?
No. Absolutely not.
What's 50,000 going to do for you in New York City? You ain't going to get no rent.
Yeah.
What you going to get a car loan? You going to get a mortgage? So even according to the United States Census Bureau as of 2018, even being mediocre isn't good enough. So when you add those 3 brackets together, half of black people are struggling according to this.
Yeah.
On average.
More than half.
So when she says being mediocre is not good enough and your feelings are hurt, who are you getting mad at?
That person in the mirror, obviously.
But I personally don't think they really are mad at the interview per se. The second one, the Breakfast Club interview, they're more mad at the stance of her doubling down, right? And using certain words that we have heard before that are triggering, right? Mediocre. She could have said average, but mediocre by definition is like
Literally
said,
verbatim.
is average.
T.I. said it. I don't want no mediocre. What you gonna tell ya?
But it's like everybody wants to, let's be, brass tacks, let's be real.
Yeah.
Especially in the black community, a lot of people want to do average things and expect to be treated as above average people.
Facts.
They want to pretend like they're better than average, but they live average lives. How many people, I'm an aspiring musician, I see plenty of people with jewelry and I know people that make less money than me, got more luxury than me, and they want to consider themselves above average. Economically, they're nowhere near that.
No.
But if you call them average, if you call them mediocre or average, they're upset. We got to change the way that we think about things. You're not wrong about how she used the terminology. I agree.
It's fine too.
I agree because it's still. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to tap the mic. Like, I agree. You got to be careful about what you say.
You do. One of the things though that is also an issue that lied in this video was we have to understand that not everyone is going to be high value or even to that luxury. 1%, right?
Yeah,
and look at this.
Well,
Can you
bring the chart back
That's
up
about
again?
3%.
Can you just say the last one? How much makes over 100K?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not even. It's ridiculous. So
just tell them so they can know.
you have to be in.
got great
100,000.
vision.
I actually don't. I was looking at this chart
Okay,
20 times.
okay, yeah.
I don't have memorized, but I looked it up.
Yeah.
But like, if you look at it, to be in middle class, even if you make 100,000, you're still only considered middle class.
Yeah.
So for all you people out there thinking that, oh well, my guy has to be he has to make 100,000 and this and that, you think you're gonna be living wealthy? No, you still ain't out the fire. Stop it.
so what is high class
taxes.
according to the?
According to this chart up here, you have to be making at least $200,000 and over to be considered upper class. How many people you know make $200,000?
I know a couple
That aren't like that are.
but they're not me right now. I'm gonna get there. Sorry.
How many streams of income you need to even make that?
It depends. It depends. You can get
it
the.
depends.
Are those people you know
You
African
need a
American?
few though.
No.
For sure.
Those people I know are not
Then I-
African
then
American.
I rest my case.
And that's what sucks on it because I have not met them yet. And I've been trying to network with you guys. Reach out to Peep this W.O.M. If you're up in that number, reach out to us. Get in the comment section. Hit the notification. Share.
That's a good point.
We're really
I would
trying
like
to
to
know.
hear it.
We really
like
need to
that.
get this feedback because it's
know.
serious.
For
It's a
real.
real conversation that we're trying to have, and we're building it. So why not have them reach out?
No, I was gonna say so stir us into this conversation a little deeper.
All right, so for everybody, so if you've seen the Breakfast Club interview, if you've seen clips of Angela Rye, if you've seen clips of the glorious Dr. Umar Johnson, because we don't want no smoke. I actually like Umar Johnson, but other people even coming at her saying like, well, did you see her ex-fiance is white and this and that? Let's be real. If you are an African American person and you make anywhere upwards of that middle class and above, as you get higher in your salary, there are less black opportunities to date.
Yep.
Yes.
Becomes a lot more lighter.
But is it less opportunities for men or the women? Are you
Both.
talking about? I think it's more for the women.
Yeah.
And
It's strategically been
So
done
you
that
so
way.
you think that as a black man, the richer you get, there's more opportunities for you to date black women in the same economic bracket?
but why would you date? That's another thing we would have to talk about, but maybe not on this platform.
Yeah.
High value men are not looking for the highest value woman. They're looking for high value women in characteristics,
That is true.
not in
Mm. Not in the
finance.
external,
not
not-
economically.
Yeah,
Yes.
not financial.
And what were those characteristics? You were talking about that high value stuff earlier.
Drop some. If you have
Oh, drop
If you
some.
could drop
Yeah.
some.
Yeah. Drop some
Because he
bro.
did drop
Because I think we can all agree that, if I'm making $1 million, I'm not necessarily looking for my partner to make $1 million
No.
per se. But it would be indicative of certain things. But continue when you have it.
All right, so 15 traits of a high value woman. She embraces femininity. She cares about her appearance. She's agreeable, right? She's kind. She only associates with high value men, right?
Okay.
She has a good reputation amongst. No, she cares about her reputation. She has good female quality friends.
That's hard.
She's classy. She's always
That is a
improving
hard one.
herself. She's a peacemaker, a tribe builder. She embraces her healthy sexuality. She's not a victim. And we'll clarify, when we say victim, meaning she's not always blaming somebody else for
Outside
things
of
that's
herself.
happening. Not
mentality.
actual victims.
Yeah.
Victim mentality.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
always you.
she saves her sexual power for one man.
I would question that, but
And
That's-
what
in
it,
terms
what
of-
it means,
yeah,
sexual
what
power?
that meant when I read the article is while she's dealing with you, she's not dealing with X, Y, and Z. She's just dealing with you. She's giving you that energy, Delphi.
And that power.
when you mention all of those things to me seem like things that I would want, characteristics I would want my wife to have.
Yes.
You understand?
yes.
So now bringing back to my point, when we were talking about this, a person at this level is for a male, high value male, not necessarily looking for a high value female financially. Now, high value females tend to want somebody on their spectrum. So if they're a lawyer, they want somebody, maybe a doctor,
Yep.
a ball player, somebody that makes, if not equal,
More.
more.
Definitely more.
And they tend to strive for people more. Now, for females, it'll be harder for them to find a high value man because they're scarce. They're scarce
in general.
regardless.
In general.
Right.
So now you're talking about the percentage of men who work. Remember, I said a stat into the chat. Between 20 and 29, right?
Age 20 to 29, yeah.
They're incarcerated.
1 in 4.
Yeah.
One
One
in
in four.
four. 1 in 4 between that age.
Which means that between the ages of 20 and 29, there was a 1/4 chance that
One of us
there's a
could have been.
guarantee that one of us would have been in jail.
One of us would have
Statistically.
been in jail.
It was me.
There you go.
Well, make it two. It was me too.
Oh, there you
There you
go.
go.
We
2
lost.
and 4. Multiple times. So
There you go.
But you see,
Yeah.
see the dilemma. That's all I'm saying. So
No,
bring
no,
it back now. I'm
no,
sorry.
no,
I just
yeah.
wanted to give you the difference.
That's good context. Like
It is.
men and women essentially don't necessarily look for the same things in their long-term partner or when they're searching for that.
Right.
So I do have a question though.
Yeah, go ahead. Shoot.
If you have, like, let's say you make $500,000 a year, right?
Yeah.
What is the likelihood that you think that you're going to be going after somebody that, let's say, is maybe a bus driver,
a female bus driver.
a female bus driver?
It wouldn't matter
It
to
wouldn't
me.
matter to me.
It would matter to me because
It just-
she sits down too long, and I'm too active.
That is kind
That
of
is just gonna be a
well.
lot.
But what about
after
after the
the
job?
clock?
How many bus drivers you know go to gym? And honestly, I'm not trying to hit on y'all, hurt on y'all.
Let him
But
cook.
this
He has
is the
a
thing.
point.
I
Just
dated
be
a bus
careful.
driver before.
'Cause-
And I've dated a couple. And when they are a very humble homebody, take care of their family
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of
Yeah,
atmosphere,
yeah.
because it is very, like they said, integrity. And I understand that. It's a
Yeah,
very
yeah.
humbling job to have to deal with patrons, to have to deal with the public, deal with children, deal with that stress. And you just want to relax afterwards.
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
honestly, if I'm making a $500K, yeah, she's gonna come home to the best life ever. Bubble baths, candles, all that good stuff. It's gonna be romanticized.
You heard it first here.
All the bus
But at the same
drivers.
time, is she gonna love that job? Is she gonna be able to like keep up with my life? No.
But what I would say is,
She can't take vacations.
I'm gonna want you to double down and choose one because you just said
Yeah, you did.
I did say two.
no. You just said yes, and then you said no, and then you
Oh.
say yes. So
Okay.
which one is it, bro?
No, bro. No.
He said no bus.
Why?
Because at the end of the day, I'm not gonna romanticize somebody who can't romanticize me back. You don't have the time, energy, effort, ability, activity, mindset to
just-
even go into
But
that.
how do you
Just
know?
get,
though,
just
bro?
get.
How do I know? Because dog, it's gonna be a. I'm an Aquarius. Sorry, I'm an Aquarius. Y'all Aquarius, right?
No, I'm a Gemini.
Okay, whatever, y'all.
We already ratted you out.
We read your episodes.
Don't
long.
listen to this guy.
As
He's
an Aquarius,
Aquarius.
you're a humanitarian. You're gonna be in
Yeah.
that small part of the world trying to help people. You're gonna be looking for specific answers. You're gonna be trying to reach and explore. And sometimes you a peacock, you gotta fly.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just can't. You need your time.
Well, glide, you know.
Right. You're
Yeah.
gonna glide.
They can't.
Peacocks fly. He would glide off and
They
stuff.
can fly for a
People
little
are
bit.
not always correct, but we
They're
try.
always correct.
Continue.
But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
as an Aquarius, I'm gonna find myself always wanting to get better and get better and get
Of
better.
course.
And that's gonna be
Aspirational.
an aspirational. And that's gonna be what the ultimate problem is gonna be with us. Yeah, if she could be an Aquarius and do that too, but I know at the end of the day, she's gonna want more.
Of course.
But what if she was just happy with her job? You couldn't
Yeah.
accept that? I'm just curious.
That's a fair question.
No.
What if she
Fair
was bad?
enough.
What if she
Fair
was bad?
enough.
And
No.
she exercised and worked 3 times a week.
Then it's cool.
Then it's cool.
Oh, that is
Then it's cool.
Then it's cool.
So it's the
But you gotta do
sedentary aspect. That's what it is.
Before you go,
No, I was going to ask Dajonte to go.
Go ahead.
Before you go,
Yeah.
and that's what Ebony is doing. She understands the conflation of a certain economic standing and a certain lifestyle, because it is harder to get out of these situations for most people, and therefore most people give up.
You're absolutely right. That working poor class,
It is so hard to get
very
out of.
hard to get out of that. You can't even the working poor class mindset of where we gonna get it, how we gonna get it.
It's
Where it's
really,
coming from.
It is really the mindset, though. That's the issue.
Yeah.
That
Can't
mindset
get out
does
of it.
exist, and the thing is that I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
Like let's play.
But I would say, do keep in mind there are other factors as well too that can take apart. It's not that just
Yes.
it could be the mindset. There's other outside variables and factors. It could be an
Yeah.
injury. It could be some kind of thing, some kind of disability they
Right.
have, whatever.
Agreed.
They
Language
can't go-
barriers.
Yeah, language barriers. You know,
Economic classism.
Yeah.
You can't get put so far.
so yeah.
And I
so
do-
some people are just not that fortunate.
But they all go to my gym. Just telling y'all, I see them all in my gym, all those different walks. Just saying.
The bus driver that you didn't want, though.
She at the gym. I see her
she
at
at
the
the
gym.
gym. Oh, yeah.
I see her.
They don't gym, though. Nah, I'm just joking,
They do though, which is
6
weird.
hours a day. No, I'm just
Not enough for me though.
I
She don't do
got
the right workouts.
Like what I'll say is that so
Go ahead.
like let's be. I'm gonna play a little bit of chess with this situation. I'm gonna play a little bit of chess with this chart, right? How many winners are at the bottom?
Winners?
How many winners are at the bottom?
None.
How many winners are at the top?
Few.
Who wants to date a loser?
That's not real.
Dog. I got it. I'm picking a dog in a fight, and let's call it what it is. When you're rich, do you want to date a poor loser?
If I had 500,000, I'm not saying I do or don't, but if I had that, right? I don't really care for somebody else.
We're talking about mentality, not.
No, but you were asking about like if I would be in a situation with them, right? If their mentality wasn't a rich mindset mentality, but it was I'm happy with my job, I'm content. That is cool. Like the value, I'm not looking for somebody to match me paycheck to paycheck. If I found that though, bro, would I be happy? Sure.
Of course.
If I didn't find that, am I still gonna be happy if I'm getting all those other things? I don't need every single thing on that trait, but if I was getting somebody that agreeable, who could work with me,
massage your scalp.
You know, I come.
And then at night she's a bottle girl.
Yeah.
What happens then? Hold on. And then at night she's a bottle girl.
But that's different. Though.
That's going to sexual
you're not a bus driver.
No, but the reason why I would say that's different, bro, only reason is my standards of modesty is different. So I'm not hating the job. I'm just the girl that I would go after just wouldn't be in that outfit. That's it. But but if she was making the same price of let's say what about average bottle girl, 28K, maybe less.
I wouldn't even know.
I wouldn't know.
Not too sure yet.
But if they were making that,
I'm
not gonna knock her for that. You see what I'm saying?
No, of course not.
Go ahead.
All
bro.
I'm basically saying is that, and this is not like I'm not trying to I'm not coming after anybody specifically. But in the world of the black community where we listen to hip hop, where we listen to people talk about all the stuff they doing, how much money they making, them flexing on people, when they talk about that's why I'm rich and you poor and you broke, you poor, broke, busted, and disgusted, we got past to saying that. To working class people.
That's sad, bro.
We got past to saying that. And let's be real, women and men, everybody wants to date a winner. And in this world that we live in, a winner is somebody that is economically and financially powerful.
I still disagree. Yo, Dajonte, step in and help me out. Help me, brother.
I'm gonna help you, dog. Listen,
The ancestors can't help you this time.
I'm not saying that is not important too at the same time, but still, there's other things that are crucial. Their integrity, their character, their worth, all of these other different things, their characteristics, who makes them who they are, that cannot be bought with money. I think we put too much of an emphasis on the finances. I understand the finances are important, but you have to be well-rounded as an individual too at the same time. So I caught a foot cramp.
So now I want to ask you this.
Go ahead.
He asked the question, I'm rephrasing it
Yes,
to you.
go ahead.
So you have 500K.
Yes.
Can an average or mediocre woman be suffice for you? But she is giving you all the qualities that you're looking for inwardly, other than
Yeah, because what we look for is different than for what they look in us.
That's all I'm saying.
The most important thing to me, I feel like, is going to be a peace of mind. That's probably going to be at the top of my list. If you could give me peace of mind,
I agree.
Peace of mind.
Have you ever met a poor chick that's smart or intelligent?
Yes.
Yeah.
That I can challenge. Yes. There's plenty of
just because their financial circumstances are that way doesn't mean that they can't be optimal that way.
I'm not a chick though.
Right, but you are also willing to put your backs against that wall to climb out, push against, and you do that every day. You do that without anybody even having to tell you it. Some of them are so broken. How much embarrassment you got to go through? How much more do you got to go through before you come up?
I would have.
I'm not saying female. I'm saying in our community.
Oh, okay.
And people.
No,
like,
but how much you was going to say female?
Not female. No. This is not gender. This is our people. How much embarrassment do we have to go through? Dude, this chart is embarrassing. Like when you say that, like being with a loser, but we all acting like a winner for real. Like, how much are you holding on to this skin that you just can't understand this?
I think when it comes down to it, again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think the number one issue that needs to be addressed, there needs to be a deep, immense healing psychologically.
Yeah.
Period.
That's why I said disclaimer from the beginning.
Across the board.
Get therapy.
If we have a community that can really pull again, I'm gonna keep saying community because
You're right.
until we start pulling things together,
Yep.
we cannot advance as a group or a culture. And that's why stuff like this is happening. To be honest, right now there's such a big disparity because even though the world is 50-50, when it's 50% men, 50% women, almost
Around
in United States is far more females than males. And then on top of that, now if you're looking at the Black culture, right, the African diaspora, right, more women are graduating at a higher rate from college than black men.
Black women more than black men.
More women, even though they're not in STEM, they're having more higher earning than their counterpart. So it's going to be hard for them to find.
Why do you think that is?
What?
Why do you think that is? That men are just not, they're just opting out of colleges and getting higher education?
No, go ahead, bro. You haven't talked in a while.
Put that wise on it.
How many black women were educating from college back in the day? How many of them had the chance to?
Of course.
How many of them had the financial accessibility to do that?
I understand that, but my question stands still is why isn't men, and not even just black men, just men in general, they're not really going to do the higher education thing anymore as much?
Because at the end of the day, we need to make money and we need to provide, whether it be for ourselves or for our family.
Get it by any means.
Get it by any means.
And we have no trust funds. These younger men have no trust funds, no financial backing.
Yeah. Who's gonna give it to
support.
And
reach out to Peep the Swamp if you really want to get the education. We'll help you set you up.
So also
but you're right. You're absolutely right. There is nothing out in the community. Absolutely. There's not enough projects and programs to help them.
Which one of those working class or poor can even establish a trust fund? You would have to put something in there, bro.
What's the minimum? I'm sorry. What's the minimum? What's the minimum? Is there a minimum?
No, there's no minimum.
Okay.
But how are you gonna have a trust fund if you're paycheck to paycheck? You can't. Where you going to dish it
Even
from?
the CHEP program, it's like for babies to go off to college, you're supposed to put like $5 a month or something, and some people can't even do that.
Go ahead.
Life insurance is $29, and some people can't even do that for themselves.
So I'm gonna like jump a little bit. Like I'm shooting from the hip here, but I'm just speculating.
Yeah.
The reality is that a man doesn't have to be smart to do a job. There's many jobs that a man can do where he's dumb as rocks, doesn't even have a high school diploma, and can still do decent jobs to pay the bills.
Absolutely.
But for women, because of whatever reason, their power comes in their knowledge. And those are the types of jobs that they tend to gravitate towards.
Yeah, knowledge-based careers.
Exactly. So that's why you may see them graduate from college a bit more. That's my speculation. I don't have the data right on me right now.
So, can I drop some knowledge?
Yeah, drop some knowledge,
All
baby.
right, the reason why women are more in college than men, one, he hit on the head.
Yes.
They're allowed to go now.
Opportunity.
Right, opportunity. Second one, right, from the study that I was reading, shout out to this great study, it said that men, because of the incarceration,
Yep.
Another one.
right, and the lack of resources in their community, meaning their parents can't afford to send them, they have to work or they have to do some kind of
get
hustle.
it on their own.
Yeah, yeah. And third reason, which was shocking, is laziness. They have grown to be a level of lazy and procrastinating. Oh, I get this. They becoming satisfied with being average, like you would say, which is
One
crazy.
thing I want to say is that I'll fully disclose. When I graduated from college with a college degree, it took me at least 6 years to get to that middle class.
It's hard.
To get to middle class with a college degree. Don't have a job within my field. Not for lack of trying. Not for lack of trying. But with these statistics that we do have, we can clearly see that being average, being okay, being mediocre as an African American, at least as of 2018, is not cutting it.
It's hard.
It's not cutting it. And so, while I do understand, I still stand by, you got to be careful by what you say.
Very careful.
Because things like that can be co-opted by certain, there's plenty of YouTube channels that I follow, like people are taking this out of context and like, this is why black women this and this is why black women that, they're using it for their agenda. And it can be very toxic, especially like if I'm 14 years old and I see Eboni Williams, like, well, if I can't even, like, what am I supposed to do? I guess I'm gonna try to get some money, go sell drugs on the block so I can get some girls. Because that was my initial thought. But still, to focus on what she was getting at, the reality is that with this information, we know that half of black people at least are struggling. And being average or less than average just ain't cutting it.
You know, I think this may sound wild, but I think, we as a people, we need to go back to actually valuing people for who they are first and foremost before we get to the external aspect of what can I do to bring. Like I feel like that in itself, I feel like it's very healing in a sense, like to know that this person has a worth, that there's somebody and they mean something to someone. You know, I feel like that their worth doesn't come from, oh, it's my job to make this person happy, whatever. No, like what makes you happy. I feel like that just sets them on the right path to fulfill their purpose. It's not saying that not to push them to want to achieve those things, but I feel like a true, authentic feeling of self-worth. That's what I feel like.
What I will challenge you with, like,
Yeah.
because I just want to preface this, I agree with everything that you guys are saying about integrity.
And I'm speaking in terms as far as the beginning, which I'm talking about from childhood.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I agree with everything. You know, I'm a person that, you know, to answer the question that you said earlier about, you know, my own question, would I,
Yeah.
$500,000, would I date somebody who's 40,000? I would, because
You said you would or you wouldn't?
I would.
You said you wouldn't earlier.
No, I didn't say I
Play
wouldn't.
back the clip.
I didn't say I wouldn't, but I agree with you. I feel everything that you feel, like I'm on the same boat. But would I? Yes, because the things that I personally look for are things of like, you don't have to make all the money, but you got to have drive. But what I will focus on is just that sometimes, like, character and everything is good, but sometimes you gotta feed a family. Like, you got 2 or 3 jobs, you ain't got time to be looking for character. You got to look for somebody that's willing to provide. You need somebody that's going to, all right, what do you bring to the table?
Of course, no one's disagreeing with that.
And make sure they're not a scammer or a criminal.
And I think that's some of the things that are getting misunderstood. Like, I come from a household with 3 kids and a single mom, and I'll be perfectly honest. If I had 3 kids right now, God forbid, and I'm a single dad and I'm looking to date somebody, I'm looking at them in an economic sense too, not just character.
That is true.
But
Of course, no, that is true.
Looking at the black community as it is being
That is
broken
true.
right now.
I will agree with that.
But the question would be, you know what? I can't even. I'm
No,
not
no,
going,
go.
You know how many of these
Go
women?
brass tacks.
You know how many women with
Brass tacks.
degrees?
We could bleep
you
it
know how
out.
we said the poo poo, the kiki, or what was it? Ray Rays and whatever the poo. How many of those women with degrees are really gonna feel safe when they build an empire, they will buy a new house and all this, and bring something like that in?
You'd be surprised.
All right, so
I would be. You're right. You're right. In the black community, it happens no more.
having
It's more
children, not being married, not having the guy in the household, because I'm coming from a single family
Single
thing.
parent.
I know.
That's why I didn't want to make it like it's
But
a
I put my
shot.
cards on the table. It's the same thing.
Whose fault is that though?
It's the
She
man.
was it was both, because
It's both,
she
but-
could have chose better. My situation as well could have chose better. The man could have been able to say, you know what, I'm gonna stay and rock through this.
But he didn't.
So, but they did it, and then we have this whole how can I say, agenda now, where it's like, men ain't shit,
Watch it.
Yeah.
men ain't shit, women ain't shit. They always nagging. Why? Because
They made bad choices at the beginning.
both of them made choices that
You
they
mad
shouldn't have.
at
So
the
you're
other
saying-
sex for the choices that you made.
So you're saying in particular, is it your truth or you're saying in general? Because that may not be with everyone.
Can it be both?
It's
It
both.
can be both, but sometimes
No,
I feel
but,
like
but more or less, I was talking on. You see the single, like sometimes with being single and you're looking for, even
Yeah.
that comes with certain levels of options that you might want that high value guy or that 100 and plus K guy. You're not realistically, very few is going to look your way. Right? Even bringing back, I wanted to say this before, so since I have the floor, real quick.
No.
Why is it also, just to show your point, the 500K?
Yeah.
If you notice, every successful woman who's really rich,
mostly single.
have a less successful man.
Yeah.
That is
Why?
true.
Because they can't.
Can't find one.
You can't find somebody you're loving.
Perfect
I'm just
example.
trying to say, Oprah and Stedman,
Rihanna,
and
and
ASAP.
ASAP Rocky.
I just don't know about that because it's like their financial standing. Well,
But she's a billionaire.
yeah, but that has
Business
nothing to do with music. Like she shifted from that, but that's another
Yeah.
discussion.
Yeah,
like,
but we're just talking about like on paper,
paper.
like
Or
money.
just on paper.
Yeah.
But continue now, bro.
all I'm saying is that, like, let's not fool ourselves. You can say whatever you want about mediocre and this and that. I stand by you. You got to be careful about what you say. You got to make sure that, you know, what you say can be damaging to impressionable minds. But putting that aside, understanding that she's not talking about poor people with good hearts. Can we all agree? We know that she's not talking about poor people with good hearts.
Right.
Let's be 100% honest. We may not like it, but having less economic power is also associated with having less drive.
Yes.
I said associated, not equals,
It's
but
associated, but
Yeah, you're gonna always hustle. There's somebody. You're always gonna be able to get it out of the mud. You're always gonna be
And
able to
do you
grind
want
and
to
get
be
it.
associated with people that make bad economic decisions? Not people that do, but people that, do you want to be associated with people like that?
No.
And this is where, bringing it all back, the conflation comes around.
But we saw this when we saw, if you look at the US Census and now what happened with the whole COVID money, everybody get it. And what did they do with it? Didn't spend it the proper way.
That's
How many
I can challenge
businesses
that.
had to shut down? What?
I can challenge that because how do you expect people that have been poor?
nah, that's
Everybody
that's
that's
a
been
given.
poor
That's
from
a given.
1967, they're going to spend it on their essentials.
It's like we said
They
before.
bought so much Amazon. We saw what Amazon did.
It reminds me of the Dave Chappelle skit.
They
Gave the money right back to them.
That's exactly what happened. Y'all gave it to one company and one company only, Amazon. Which all the buyers on
already
it,
became a
which
trillion.
created a whole business of drop ship.
And you know who did all that? The bus drivers. Let me stop. The bus drivers spent it on Amazon.
Yo, support your local bus driver.
Yeah, man.
He had to.
Yeah,
She
man.
likes the stuff. She had
Yo,
to order
catch the
it.
B42, BX42.
They
We
needed
going
it
up
for the
all the way
house.
up, bro.
So one thing this shows me, and thank you for bringing it up. Thank you for showing the video. Shows us that we have to have a deeper conversation in the African American community. We have to talk now about what men are really looking for, what women are really looking for, have an understanding of realistic expectations, have an understanding of dating, have an understanding of trauma, because these expectations that we're having sometimes is pouring into
That's unrealistic, man.
unrealistic, is pouring into our daily lives and is actually destroying us and not building us up. So get your education up. Do the best you can. Be the best you can. Do what you got to do. Find some resources. Pull your community together. Collective resources. Collective revenue. Spend in your community to help it grow. Then understand that slavery was a big thing in this situation.
Oh, yeah.
That
Still is.
destroyed the household to this day. So we have to now recondition, retrain our minds. We need to have more conversations like this so that we can understand that it's okay to be more than average. It's okay to be more than complacent. What's not okay is to, how should I say this word without being
Come on, just say it.
Stay
I try to
stagnant.
find
You
it.
could say stay stagnant.
I would say we have to be mindful not to put other people down
Yeah.
for what they are doing and understand the power in the words. So